Every year to get ready for the NBA season, I like to go back and watch highlights of some of the greatest players to ever play the game. And I came across Jordan in Washington, and we have two feelings about this. Either A, he wasn't that good, or B, it doesn't really help him in the conversation against Kareem and LeBron. But in actuality, the way we feel about Jordan in Washington is due to how great he was in Chicago. But before we get into all that, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for helping the channel grow, because if I'm not growing, I'm staying stagnant. And y'all know what this YouTube thing, sleep is the cousin of death. Run those numbers up, and I'm going to break this thing down in just a minute.
He's heating up.
One of the biggest questions we have about Jordan in Washington, plain and simple, is why. He got the steal against Malone. He goes down, hits the game winner, 6th NBA championship, right off into the sunset, and suddenly you pop up in Washington. He answered this question in an interview with Marvin Shanken.
And it was intriguing enough. I didn't have the experience of ownership. I knew what it took, which was a lot of money, a lot of financial support. But the knowledge in terms of being able to transition from a basketball player who could impact a game and determine the outcome to where now you sit up in in an office and have not the same control. You have to, you have to be able to live vicariously through the players that you select, which sometimes, you're going to be allowed, you're going to make mistakes. And with that mistakes, you got to, be able to make adjustments. And that's what I learned in Washington. And, in my first couple of years, I was the general manager. Then the next couple of years, I went down and I played because I still felt I can impact the game from a player standpoint. Not with the same magnitude of what happened in Chicago, but from a teaching standpoint, saying that, okay, a lot of these kids, they believe in leadership from a physical sense, where that I can show you how hard it takes to work. I'm in the gym, the first one in the gym, the last one in the league, blah, blah, blah. And I felt like I can pass that to the players.
Now, we had the understanding that this is not the same Michael Jordan, but we also have the understanding that this is still Michael Jordan. His mind and his will can still take him places that his body couldn't. That's why Kobe was drawn to him, because they have such a maniacal approach to the game of basketball, how they work when nobody is watching. First one in, last one out. That was their mentality. And this was the year one, okay? These are the first year stats that Michael Jordan had in Washington, his all-star season. 22.9 points a game, 5.7 rebounds, 5.1 assists. He led the team in points and assists on 35 minutes per game. They went 37 and 45, and he played 60 games. They finished 10th in the East, and they had a 4-12 stretch late in the season. Michael Jordan missed 13 of those games. That's ultimately why they missed the playoffs. But this is what Tyronn Lue had to say in his interview with Knuckleheads about Washington.
The thing that I learned, I was still young, but like being 40 years old, playing back-to-backs, he played 82 games. He would never sit out of practice. Like Doug Collins was like, Mike, man, no. Like he wanted to play and practice every single day. He's 40 years old, like, and still every day. First one there, always called the Breakfast Club. He always getting his lift in. Yeah, but like he wanted to practice every day and play 82 games at 40. Like when we came in the league, that was a badge of honor to play 82 games.
That's what, we
like,
talked about that.
Like that's a badge of honor. And this man do it at 40 years old on one leg. Like, come on, man. Talking about dedication to the game. Like, it don't get no better than that.
Now, think about this, okay? Michael Jordan has tendonitis in his knee, one knee being drained of fluids regularly. He had cut ligaments in his shooting hand, and he had banged up ribs thanks to Ron Artest in a pickup game. And this was a 39-year-old man fighting every single day in practice to play as many games as possible. And the coach had to tell him to stop, had to tell him that he couldn't practice, had to kick him out of the gym and remove him completely from the situation so that he didn't force his way to playing games, to play in practice, to overexert himself, to risk further injury, especially at being 39 years old. That's a huge risk, and that could be the end of Michael Jordan as we would have known him. But ultimately, that's great respect, because there's players today that don't even want to practice, that have rest days worked into their contract to where it's mandatory that you sit them practices and games throughout the entire season because they want to be fresh for the playoffs. Michael Jordan did not have that approach. Now we look at year two, okay? Also all-star season, 20 points, 6.1 rebounds, 3.8 assists, Another 37-45 year. He played 38 minutes a game that year. He played 82 games that season, and they finished 9th in the East once again. This is what Doug Collins had to say about one of the particular instances that he had with Michael Jordan in year 2.
I was coaching in Washington. We played the Indiana Pacers, and we were down 25 at the end of the third quarter. And I took Michael out of the game, and I said, look, Michael, I know you think we can still win this game, but we got to play, you know, in 2 nights. And if we make a little run, I'll put you back in the game. Well, we didn't. Well, I found out that after the game was over that he had 8 points in the game, and he broke a streak of like 860-something games in double figures. And so the media was on, you know, how do you think Michael's going to be with this? You know, I said, you know, look, Michael's got championship rings. He's got gold medals. He's got NCAA championships. He's got MVPs. He's not going to care about the 8 points. So he met with the media and agreed. You know, that bus is lonely as a coach when you're sitting there after you've got your head handed to you. So I was sitting on the bus. He got on the bus and he said, scoot over. And he looked at me and he said, do you think I can still play? And I said, absolutely. That's why I'm here, to be here to help you. He said, you know, to be my coach, you have to believe in me and believe I can still play. And I said, Michael, I believe in you. He said, you did the right thing tonight. You did the right thing tonight. I don't care about the points, but I needed to know that you believe in me.
So after this game, MJ would be seen training well into the night, fixated on proving that he could still play the game. Arguably the greatest player of all time, feeling he had one more thing to prove, is dangerous for anyone on the other side, especially with how crazy Michael Jordan actually was. This is what Baron Davis had to say about that game.
Because he was like 40.
Right.
Wasn't he like 40?
He was something like that. Too old to be doing that. So
nah, it was like, that was just happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just happening, dog. You know what I mean? Like, he catch you from the beginning. Like, what's up, Mike?
Right.
What kind of cologne you got on? It smell good, too. You know what I mean? Well, and then come out first, you know, hit the first 3 buckets, 6 points. Now he got 14 points in the first quarter. Coach called a timeout. Paul Silas said, hey, y'all just gonna sit and watch homeboy over here getting fried? I was like, I ain't even think about it. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't even get off the fact that, like, what kind of cologne he was wearing. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't guarding him. I'm watching, like, he don't even stink. This thing smell good. He killing. They was like, you guard him, BD. I remember one play, I thought I blocked. I was like, man, get the out of here. I smack. I was like, all right, I probably need to shut up. But that was like, it was like being in a matrix. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yo, it ain't real. Like, you like, that's Jordan, though. You know, like, you in the game, like, fanning out, trying to guard the dude, and it's like 35.
Bro, I remember, I literally
42.
And this also brings me to Vince Carter. There was a game where they were in Toronto. Michael Jordan was matched up with Vince Carter, and this is what Vince Carter had to say about Michael Jordan and approaching that game.
Guarding me, and I'm not guarding him, so, you know, it's just, I just come out there and do my job night in, night out. That's what it's all about, you know. I have to get up and be ready to play every night. You know, of course, they're not Michael Jordan, but, you know, I still didn't go out there and defend my man. So, you know, and right now, I have to worry about Richard Hamilton. You know, he's the one actually doing the job for the team as far as putting the points up there. So I have to worry about him.
So the game starts, and Vince Carter is absolutely going off. At this point, Vince Carter was in his prime. He was a dog at that time. He was more than just a dunker. If you look back, you look at the three-point numbers, he's somewhere in the top 10. Vince Carter had a complete game. He was dubbed the next Michael Jordan, all right? 23 points in the first half. And you look at that numbers in the second half, Michael Jordan made sure he didn't get a single point, and a lot of times he didn't even get a shot off. He went 0 for 4 from the field, 0 points in the second half, and he finished the game with 23 points. Michael Jordan made sure he took it upon himself that what happened in the first half didn't happen in the second half, and this is at 40 years old against prime Vince Carter, one of the most athletic players in the history of the game. Now, in my opinion, okay, We know how good Michael Jordan was defensively, but you don't necessarily understand it till you see that he didn't have the athleticism. He couldn't jump as high, he couldn't run as fast, but the principles, the fundamentals, being understanding of how to use angles and all of those other things proved just how great of a defender Michael Jordan really was, and he wasn't even close to being in his prime. He was knocking on the door of 40 years old at this point. But let me know in comments, who do you think Michael Jordan at that age plays like in today's game? Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. That's one more for the good guys.
He's heating up.